From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
What's up, world? It is time for the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and my co-host, live from the beautiful northeast of the country, and we call him the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. How are you doing today, sir?
We're doing well. It's beautiful weather out here. I feel blessed. We're in the mid to high 70s. Feels like a spring day, never mind a fall day. Getting excited for week 6. A lot of good games on the docket. We've started off well here, and we hope to keep it up.
And now let's go ahead and look into our week 5 results. I got my butt absolutely handed to me last week. Only got 4 out of the 16 right last week. So you know what? Don't hold it against me. We all can have a bad week here in the league. Jeff doesn't really have bad weeks, but me, on the other hand, I have bad weeks because sometimes I'm thinking in a different sense, and trying to, flip the table a little bit. But hey, that's the risk and reward that you deal with when you go have that approach. Now, Jeff, on the other hand, everything nice and precise. Get himself an easy 9-7 week and improves to what, Jeff, right now on the season, which you're about about 40 and 40 and
I think about getting close to 40 and 25, 40 and 26.
Yeah, 40, 25, something like that. So if you guys are riding Jeff's tickets and picks every single week, you're up right now, and your bookie is is trying to figure out who Jeff is. That's what the bookie's doing right now. He's trying to figure out who Jeff is. Who's this Jeff Dawson guy? Who's this East Coast sports investor? What is this NFL Bet Exchange?
And it's the one sport that can flip on you real quick because, right. As you just said, you've had a couple tough weeks, but the thing in this game is very simple. A plus 15 units after 6 weeks, and then I put together a few of those tough weeks, and I'm back to ground zero. So each game is independent of its own. Each week is independent of its own. And as I say this very often, some days you're the dog, a lot of days you're the fire hydrant. So it's time to win some more games today.
Gotcha. Now let's go ahead and jump into our NFL Thursday night, which is tonight. And we have ourselves some fun here with the Bucs and the Eagles. The Bucs coming into this game 4-1 right now, Jeff. Tom Brady threw for 5 touchdowns on Sunday. So, everybody's getting really excited because he already has 16 touchdowns in the season. They're already calling for Tom Brady to possibly be the MVP once again this year as well, too. So there's a lot of things working out in Tampa Bay's favor. But I see a team kind of using a easy schedule to start the season off to kind of fit there to kind of look really good because Dallas, okay, that's a good win. Rams, your other first place elite NFC team, you lose that game by 10. But the other teams that you've played, New England, Miami, and Atlanta, those teams have registered are right now 4-11 in total, Jeff, when it comes down to these first 5 weeks of the season. So when I look at those records, I tell you to myself, the Bucs are kind of getting an easy run a little bit here, but at the same time, though, they're taking care of their business, because it doesn't really matter what's on your schedule in the NFL. At the end of the day, it's always about what you see and what you get when it comes to pretty much that matchup and that team. So you could have a bad team, but it's a bad matchup for you as well, too. So this game right here, to me, does kind of present a matchup where the Bucs can be challenged. But all in all, at the end of the day, what I'm going to do here, Jeff, is I'm going to just go ahead and take the Buccaneers. And I don't like taking heavy favorites like that. But I am gonna take the Bucs. You see them with the minus 300 tonight, plus 250 on the money line, plus 7 for the Eagles over under a 52.5 tonight. I'm taking the Bucs with the 6.5 here, and I bought the hook as well too. I'm over here. I'm biting a little bit off of Jeff when I by buying the hook a little bit. So Jeff, what are your thoughts on this one?
It's such a tough spot because I have been so disgusted with the offensive play selection by the Eagles. They have a great back with Sanders. They have a number 2 back with Gainwell. Currently, I think Goddard is out today, so they're going to need a big game for Mertz. I think they're going to get a big game for Devontae Smith as well. But when I really break down this game, it's with Philly and the offensive side. Their team total is 22.5. Can they get to 23, 24 today? They don't have to worry about establishing the run game this week because you can't run on the Bucs anyways. So Hurts is going to have to play keep away. He's going to have to win the turnover battle. They're going to have to get out early, and they're going to have to get their crowd behind their side. And I think in a short week, they can do this. And I think the defense will have the ears pinned back, get Tom off his spots, put some pressure on him. And I really think Philly covers this game very comfortably. We bought the hook the other way. We got Philly plus the 7.5. And listen, guys, listen out here, want a little more action on this game. We like to say put a little pizza and beer money on the Eagles plus the 250. We've seen crazy things happen on Thursday nights, and this would be a huge feather in their cap. So we're all in on the Eagles today.
All right. So there it is with that game, and let's go ahead and get into our Sunday early games. In our Sunday early games, our first game up is going to be the London game. That's going to be between the Jaguars and the Dolphins. Dolphins coming in here minus 160. Jaguars plus 140 money line, plus 2.5 on the spread as well too for the Jags, and then the over under 43. And you know why they have this at 2.5 as well too, Jeff? Because they know that this game is going to be a lot different than a lot of people think it's going to be. They know that this game is going to be one of those games that these teams they're not going to be good here this year. This is pretty much what we're seeing. Dolphins will probably be a better team later in the year, second half of the season. Jaguars are a building team right now. They're trying to build something here, but they already got a monster distraction in Urban Meyer doing what he did a few weeks back, when they went to Cincinnati and everything. Now they can make up for it this week in a spot where they're very comfortable at. The Jags win a lot in Europe, even in bad seasons that they've went over there and got monster upsets over teams like the Ravens, where they blew the Ravens absolutely off the field. So, they can be trusted when they're playing in London for some odd reason because they know that they're not at home and they have a crowd that actually really, well, you know what? Let me not say that about Jacksonville's fans because I've seen a lot of fun stuff going on at their stadium. It's just that they're a very lowly franchise. That's all it is. You know what I mean? And they're not going to talk about those things. So they go to Europe. It's always a good look for them. They're always the underdog when they go to Europe as well, too. I think in this spot right here, they're going to step it up once again, and they're going to get me back for what they did last week, and that was not win the game. I had them as my dog bet of the week, and this week I'm going to flip it back again. I'm going to roll it. I'm going to bet them back at plus 140. They had a bad situation that occurred where the quarterback was down before he scored a touchdown. That would have had them closer to possibly coming back. That when it was pulled back and then they ran the bad fourth down play, that literally just killed the game for them. So this team has a lot of spirit, and I like that. That's why I'm taking them with the plus 140, Jeff, in London to go ahead and take care of their business and get a nice little win here because I feel like Miami's going to be a drastic overbet.
We like the Jets in their spot last week against Atlanta. Atlanta gets out early, and the Jets just struggled. And it kind of reminds me of this game as well here. A Jags team that, going back to last year, I think has lost 19 in a row outright. Don't know what's going on with Urban. That's a whole nother story. But I'm following you as well here. We're going to take the plus 140 money here. I mean, I'm not going to take the 2.5 up to 3 here. We're going to take a swing with the Jags. It's kind of a must win for Miami. Feel a little pressure with Tua if he is playing, what they're going to do there. He is practicing. I just don't like where either team's going. So we see the value at the plus 140 as well. Hopefully, Trevor can, make a few more plays. They're starting to establish James Robinson finally, and he's a great back. They need to do that. They lost Chalk for the season. They need to get LaVisca out and going with Marvin Jones as well. Look for Arnold, the tight end who they got from Houston. Look for him to score as well. So we're with you with the Jags plus the 140 money line as well, Bobs.
All right, there it is. So we move on, and we have AFC South divisional game that's going to be between the Texans and the Colts. This will be one of the more under the radar games in the NFL as well, too. A lot of people probably won't be paying attention to this one until we get to Sunday. A lot of people aren't going to be like, this is my game right here. This is the game that I'm betting. But a lot of people have to get out the idea of thinking that the Texans are going to just be an easy out for you to make some money. You know what I mean? The Texans, see, when you're as bad as the Texans and the spread is always high for you week in and week out, you're one of the most dangerous teams on a Sunday. Seriously. I know it sounds crazy right now, but you're the team that messes up the 12-team parlay that you mixed up with college football and the NFL with all the favorites and thinking that, that it was going to be the way it's going to be, you know what I mean? And you're playing all spread, you know what I mean? Or, you try to play money line and, the Colts come in here and they lay an egg and then you're in trouble. That's what's tricky about teams like the Texans is that you don't know what team is showing up week in and week out. Literally, they gave the game to the Patriots last week. They should have won that game. They're up 22-9. And I won't say it's because of bad coaching or anything of that nature. I'm just going to say that you're a bad team, and that's what happens to bad teams. Bad teams know how to lose games, and that's exactly what the Texans do. But that doesn't mean that they're going to just lay down. And they laid down for 2 weeks in a row, and then they came back around and damn near beat the Pats. So, they're playing in a divisional game this week, and I truly do think that what happens here is that you have a spot where the Texans may not win, but they should be able to cover. And that's why I'm going ahead and taking the Texans with the plus 10 this week. I think that, with this chip on their shoulder that nobody respects what they're doing at all is making them much better week in and week out for the bettors. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, they're going to try. They're not going to just lay down for you. You know what I mean? We have teams that are laying down in the NFL, and then I know people look back and say, but Pop, they lost 40-0. That's the Bills, though. The Bills just beat the Chiefs by 18. So that's out the mix. That's like Bama going against Appalachian State or something right now. That's like whatever. But that game last week should have proved to you that teams that aren't elite like the Bills are not going to be just blowing away the Texans like that. And that's how I feel while I'm going with the plus 10 Texans. And I like it, Jeff. What are your thoughts on this?
Two teams that should have won last week, like you said, the Texans and the Colts. I think the Colts got some bad ref calls on Monday night. And that Ravens never, in my eyes, never should have won that game. And you look at the under over here and it's 43. So doing some quick math, Colts 27, maybe Texans 17, but I can't see the Texans scoring 17 if the Colts are able to match the intensity that they had on Monday night. It's a must win for the Colts. If they look past the Texans, they're in trouble, okay? Because Texans, again, playing with house money. Mills looked great last week. Now you come to the Dome, you got the home field advantage. You need to establish Taylor. Wentz should have a field day out there. I like the Colts. I think they come in. I can see a 27-13 game all day here. We got the Colts minus the 9.5 pops.
And which show was gung-ho about the Colts on Monday Night Football, the NFL bet exchange. The rest of y'all was choosing the Ravens with an anonymous situation. And this is how we know that you guys ain't really watching the game. This is how we really know that you're not paying attention. You know what I mean? Because we both know that the Ravens defense is not the Ravens defense of old. And the Ravens have issues because they don't have a significant running back there either. You can't have your quarterback run and pass at 100% of the game. It's not high school. So we know that the Ravens are really being carried by one man right now, and that's why their games are going to be close all season. It's that simple. So that's why we came up with that. And we know that the Colts are an ascending team right now. They played the toughest schedule in all of football the first 5 weeks of the year. That's a team that you do not want to see in the next few weeks because they've been playing against much better than what they're going up against right now. So there it is. I just wanted to throw that point in there real quick, Jeff, to kind of toot our horns real quick, All right, so let's talk about the oldest rivalry in all of football, the Packers at the Packers and the Bears. These guys go back all the way back. They was different names when they started. You know what I mean? Oh, Curly Lambeau against George Halas. So, this is an epic rivalry. It's always going to be an epic rivalry no matter if these teams come into the game on 15. It's going to always be a great, great rivalry. So what we see here with the Bears and the Packers, I see a Bears team that's actually getting much better week in and week out. Now, the offense is nothing to write home about. Let's all keep it real. But the defense is now starting to get into their grind. And I know a lot of people felt like last week, like they were given the game somewhat by the Raiders because the Raiders their issue with their coach. But no, the Bears defense stepped it up, locked it up, and beat the Raiders. It's that simple. And that's what happens when you have a great defense and a managing offense, okay? And they took advantage of a team that has to have really, really good plays to succeed. They had to – a lot of Raider success came off of broken plays this year in coincidence. So the Bears took advantage of a team that might have been reading their own press clippings and overlooking the fact that they had to show up and play a game against the Chicago Bears. The Bears came in as a winner last week. Now they've won 2 in a row. So you can't just keep saying, oh, the Bears offense and offensive line, Justin Fields doesn't get it. Justin Fields doesn't have to throw for 400 yards for you to win the game. It's that simple. He can go ahead and manage, eat up the clock, get them points, and then the defense goes out there and does their job. That's been the Chicago Bears forever. Ever. This is the first team that they didn't have 3 40-point games in a row like ever. And that happened last year. And they got rid of that quarterback. So it goes to show you that the Bears know that defense is always going to be their calling card. You know what I mean? And that's why I say don't ever deny the Bears defense. And I think the Bears are coming into form right now of what they were going to be all season anyway. Because it doesn't matter who plays quarterback on that team. It's all about that defense showing up each and every Sunday and giving the offense opportunity to score 20 points and still be in the game. So where I'm going with this one is I like the Bears here. I think the Packers have been kind of sliding the last few weeks, and that game last week showed me that, you know what, you can't invest in the Packers every week. You just can't think that the Packers are going to roll and dominate a team. And I think they walk into this one, their second road game in a row against a team that has a better defense in the Bears, and they can wind up losing this game against their old arch rival because these are the type of games that wet behind the ear rookies win, like Justin Taylor. It's like Justin Fields. So I'm not doubting that, and I really do like the plus 4.5 on the Bears. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
It's a tough game. Home team, Justin getting his sea legs, still no Montgomery. He won't be back for another month. We looked at this game, and again, to beat Aaron Rodgers, especially on the road, you got to get out early. He tends to put his head down when the going gets tough on the road. He's shown it the last 2 years here. Now, can someone double team Davante Adams, please? I mean, it just infuriates me. The guy's one of the best route runners in the NFL, and yet these single coverage, you can't cover him single coverage. Let someone else beat you. And so for us, we're going to jump on the Bears here, plus the 4.5. They're home. Hope to keep it tight. Hoping Justin, wins the turnover battle. You'll hear me say that on all these games. You got to win the turnover battle, especially at home. And so keep it close, Justin. Try to play a little keep away from Rodgers. Double team Davante Adams. Maybe Mooney gets loose this week. Maybe you have one of the better wide receivers, Allen Robinson, Justin. Maybe get him involved early in the game. But I like the Bears here plus the 4.5 pops.
All right. So with that, we're going to be right back with the NFL Exchange. I'm your host, the one and only Pop DBIC, the primetime capper, and my man, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson, and we'll be right back to you in a few.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the NFL Bet Exchange, and this is time for some more really good games, and pretty much we got the Packers, Bears. We're done with that. Let's go ahead and talk about the Chiefs minus 290 this week at Washington football team plus 230 this week. Disregard that real quick. What I just put. That's not going to be -7. That's going to be +7. I don't know how that got in there, but it's going to be +7. Had to correct it real quick, but it's going to be +7 over under 54. That's a lot of points for a Washington team that hasn't even. I think they got to 30 one time this year, 33 points one time, and the Chiefs score 30 points in their sleep. So I know that they're doing this to favor the Chiefs a little bit, and we know Washington's defense is not came to the party like everybody advertised them to do. But you know what? You cannot do that in the NFL a lot of times. You can't already say this is going to be the best defense before they actually go out there and play defense. That defense is predicated on the success of Chase Young. If Chase Young's not killing it, then their team's not in a good position to win a game. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. But Tyler Heineke, the XFL quarterback, has given these guys a chance. And who did Heineke play for? Didn't he play for Seattle? He played for one of the teams that didn't have a big-name quarterback. Regardless of anything, he's showing that the XFL had talent, pretty much point blank. And I'm still sad that league couldn't move forward because of pandemic and, just I think a oversight of things as well, too. And just I think a little bit too much excitement. And after you got the deal from ESPN and all these entities and stuff like that, I think that you kind of shot yourself in the foot because you didn't deliver the product that you were supposed to deliver, because I don't think that everybody had enough time to really put it together as a full unit. But the league would have got much better as we moved forward, though. with the league. You know what I mean? With the season, it was getting better by the week. But all in all, Chiefs minus 290. That's a big number right there. Washington plus 230. That's a sneaky number right there because whenever you go to Washington, you can't expect to win if you're a road team because they figure out tricky ways to win games, and they're always in games because they have such a passionate fan base as well too. I beat that the Chiefs. You know what? I took the Chiefs last week, and I'm still disappointed that I talked myself into that because I really like the Bills going into that game. But I said to myself, "Nah, the Chiefs are going there and win this game by any means necessary." Blase, blase, blase. But then we keep looking up. Nobody's fixing that defense. That defense is not improved at all. It's regressing week in and week out. And I question teams when they run after a troubled wide receiver like Josh Gordon. And you got plenty of defensive guys that are on the streets as well too. That are Pro Bowlers that are still trying to be a part of the NFL as well too, and actually will do some good for your team instead of just trying to add on another offensive weapon when you don't really need it. Because sometimes we got too many weapons, this can mess up everything. You know what I mean? Because you got the 4 best receivers in the league, but if you're not getting 2 of the guys the balls, they're not going to be on your team next year. You know what I mean? They're trying to be somewhere where they can be active and still have big stats. So, I just think the Chiefs are making some real minor league decisions right now because they're trying to appease a base and appease a certain player on the team instead of trying to look at the overall grasp and glimpse of things. And they're 2-3, and you know what? They're 2-3 for a reason, Jeff. They deserve to be 2-3 because they're playing terrible defense right now, and the offense just can't carry you every single week, and they're learning that lesson right now.
I agree. I mean, I've said every week on the show, I go back to week 1. They should have lost to the Browns. They technically should be 1-4 right now. Right. And the Josh Gordon makes no sense. Listen, we know your 2 number 1 weapons are Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Okay. You got young guys out there, Hardman and Pringle. There was no reason to bring Gordon in. I think at this point, maybe they think the defense is either A, going to get better with what they have, or B, is unfixable. And they're just going to outgun you here. Your total's at 54. Vegas is telling you right now 31-24. That's what they're saying. Here we just listen. The Chiefs are the public darlings of the world. I think they've covered the spread once. They're not a covering machine. We bought the hook, took them down to 6.5, and says, "All right, Patrick. Maybe it's a late pick by Heineke. Maybe it's a late touchdown to Kelce or Hill. No CEH. They're bringing in the Williams kid. McKinnon will be the 3rd down back. We're looking for them to score 30 plus and try to cover a 6.5 spot, Pops."
Well, I'm going to go opposite, Jeff. I'm going to go take Washington football team plus 7. I think the Washington football team will be into this one. They're going to have themselves a pretty good game. I'm feeling like in this spot as well too. When I look at it, they played, I think, one AFC team and didn't go well because it was the Bills and it was on the road. But after last week, they had a valiant effort, and then they won the week prior to that. And I just feel like Heineke, with the way how bad this defense is, Heineke's going to have himself a pretty good game. So pretty much, and I'm saying this because I'm going to have to start him Sunday as well too, Jeff. I ran into a real bad situation. I'm in a fantasy league, not the daily, but the regular fantasy league, and Russ was the starting quarterback, Wilson, and he got hurt. And Matt Ryan's off this week because he's the backup. I should have had Matt starting last week because everybody in their mama said you had to start Matt Ryan if you have him on your fantasy team. And, Matt Ryan has been regulated to being a backup in fantasy for a lot of fantasy guys. You know what I mean? And because Atlanta doesn't win enough and, he doesn't throw enough touchdowns, you know what I mean? So, all you're going to get is a 250-yard game with 1 touchdown, 3 picks. So, why don't you have him as a backup just in case when they play the bad team? So I'm in a predicament. That's why I don't like doing fantasy so much, Jeff. because the bye week start messing you up, dude, and then you got to start filling in players and dropping players that you don't want to drop to bring in this guy so he can play. Like, it's just stupid. So it is what it is, man. But we move on and let's go ahead and talk about the Vikings at the Panthers. The Vikings at the Panthers had a very entertaining game last year, Jeff, in a sense, because the Panthers team that went up a lot of points in that spot. And they went up what I think about 21 points in that game, and the Vikings had to push a late comeback to win that game last year. So you know that the Panthers still have that bad taste in their mouth from last season. But once again, the Vikings are another team that played a tough first 5 weeks of the season. Well, a tough first 4 weeks of the season. Okay, Bengals, pretty good team, 3-2. Second week, you go against the undefeated Cardinals. You lost that game because your kicker missed a field goal. Then you go against Seattle. Seattle's not a bad 2-3. Seattle was able to, you were able to beat Seattle in that spot. Then you played the Browns, who are one of the better teams in the NFL right now as well, too, and lost to them by 4. Then come back the next week and beat the Lions in a very clutch situation. You got back that win from week 2 that you dropped. So the Vikings are playing good football all in all, even though their games are very close. All 4 out of 5, well, at least 4 out of 5 of their games were really close. But seriously though, this team is playing much better football than they're saying. And I think that you have to take the Vikings very seriously. I think the Panthers, honestly, we were excited for what we saw the first 2 weeks of the season, but we had 3 weeks of the season, but we have to put it in regard that this team played against the Jets. The Jets aren't going to be good this year. They played against the Saints, who might be the most inconsistent team in the NFL because they're going to look great one week and they're going to look awful the next week. Then they got a big win over the who was the third victim that they had? They're not very good either, huh?
Who's this? The Panthers?
Yeah, they're not very good either. Houston, the Texans. So you have those 3 teams. So you put it out here like this: Jets bad, so you're gonna get that win. Saints division opponent, so you were ready for that game. Texans bad team, so you're 3-0. Now you dropped the last 2 games in a row, and the first game you dropped, the Cowboys kind of dominated them, and we were all surprised because that defense and that front 7, they win more than they lose getting to the quarterback, and they weren't able to defeat the Cowboys. So that puts a feather in the Cowboys' hat, to be honest with you. And then you have them losing last week to the Eagles. The Eagles were losing most of the game. They got incomplacent and wound up losing the game because they thought they had already won. So the Panthers kind of still have this thing about learning how to win, I think. And I think that they got a little bit ahead of themselves when you have different outlets saying that they're going to be competing with the Bucs and they'll be in the playoffs this year. Let's stop doing that after 3 weeks, NFL talking heads. Don't dress them up to tear them down later. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Take it 1 week at a time. Carolina was a surprise. We all know that they were surprised. So let's not treat them like they're here. They're elite, that they're going to be in the group, because they still have many flaws that keep them out of the playoffs, in my opinion. But all in all, let me get to my pick. I'm just blabbering. I like the Vikings in this game. Kirk Cousins and crew are taking care of the business, and this is the reason why Coach Mike Zimmer has not been fired yet, because Mike Zimmer is comfort. He knows how to win in this league, and he had so much early success with the Vikings that it's hard to replace a really good coach like this. You know what I mean? So, because you lose Zimmer go down the road to a team that just needed a coach to win, and he'll win a Super Bowl. So Minnesota's thinking like that. That's why they're holding him tight, because they know that Dallas is always ready to hire Mike Zimmer. Seriously, if Mike Zimmer came available, they'll fire their coach for him. Seriously, I think they would, because Mike Zimmer's a part of the good old boys, the 90s Cowboy coaching staff, not the late 90s, the early 90s Cowboy coaching staff that won championships. So I like the Vikings in this spot. I think the Vikings actually dominate in this game as well, too. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we're a big open and number team here at ECSI. Panthers opened up -1, and overnight before it became a public release, it went right to the Vikings -1. Again, Carolina, great start. Struggled the last two. We had the Eagles last week against them. We're jumping on the Vikings here, minus the 120 money line. Again, more of a must win for the Vikings versus the Carolina team. Again, do they have CMC back or not? Darnold's been great. Their defense has been great. But again, this game will come down to who wins the turnover battle, and does Cousins, score touchdowns in the red zone versus the field goal. So we're really in on the Vikings. We look for them to take care of business here, Pops, minus the 120.
All right, so it's me and Jeff are in the same boat with this one. So you guys go ahead and notate that me and Jeff are both on the Vikings for this one. So, hey, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, everything works out for us. All right, so the game of the week: Chargers at the Ravens. 4-1 teams going at it. Chargers over here with feeling good about themselves. They're over here talking to their coaches if he's going to be the coach of the year, and you got the Ravens over here. Lamar is doing just amazing things. 442 yards thrown for on Monday Night Football, and they said that the guy would never throw over 400 yards in an NFL game when they were throwing him up under the bus, not drafting him in the top 10. And I think Lamar has made everybody pay for overlooking him. And I told myself the night he was drafted that, man, the Ravens just can't lose when it comes to getting these great draft picks. It's been going on since day one with Jonathan Ogden. The moment they moved to Baltimore, the whatever mediocrity that they had in Cleveland was left in the lake. Seriously, they came to Baltimore and have been nothing but great franchise. Like, seriously, they've been nothing but a great franchise since that point. So them getting Lamar Jackson is just the rich get richer in a sense, but that's because they were able to run the team the way that Ozzie Newsome wanted to run the team. And the Patriots and Ravens were ran damn near the similar in a similar fashion, right down to the T. If you guys want to know more about it, watch Cleveland 95, the NFL Network special. You guys already know. But down to the game. Chargers are good. Okay, we're all going to give them that prop that they're a really good team. But in this game right here, they're playing against a team that does the same exact thing. They try to beat you in the end. And this game, when you have teams link up like this, these games usually get one-sided. So who's going to be the one side here, Jeff? That's my thoughts. You know what I mean? Because usually these games aren't close. When you have teams that usually finish games off in the fourth quarter, but this game has all the makings of being close, though, to be honest with you. So I do feel like what we can do here is it's going to come down to, who holds on to the ball. And I think that this Ravens defense is due for a monster game. So I'm taking the Ravens in this spot. I bought the hook as well, too. I didn't feel like overspending on the money line because I think they can win by 3 or better. So that's why I'm taking the 2.5. I don't like the 3 because I think that they will push, if anything. But they win by 3 or better. That's why I love the 2.5 here. Ravens, I think that they know what time it is. And after having such a flat effort for 3 for most of the game against the Colts, they're going to be into this game very early because they know that they can't fall apart early, because if they do, they're going to get beat. This ain't, the Chargers aren't going to let them off the hook that easily. Maybe not. You know what I mean? Because the Chargers still have those eyes of a team that can blow a game late as well too. We both know that. They just got lucky they had the final possession in that game. I think that if the Browns didn't have so much, if they didn't overthink the drive, they would have been fine. But oh no, it's good. But I'm taking the Ravens in the spot. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Tough for the Ravens to get up at that level that they were for the second half against the Colts. It's a short week. Yes, they're still home. A Chargers team that generally plays better on the road than they do at home. They were able to, put up a 40 burger and to beat the Browns last week. A game here that initially the Vegas has right around 28-24. Do I think the Chargers can score more than 24 points? Yes, I can. Do I think that their defense can hold the Ravens to less than 28? Yes, I can. So what we decided here, again, this is a toss-up. This is not one of those games that you run to the window and put the rent or the mortgage on. It's a game to sit back, watch, buckle up, and enjoy. We went the other way here, Pops. We took the 3. We bought the hook. We're going to take Herbert over Lamar Jackson. Now, again, it was Mark Andrews coming out party again on Monday. I mean, we had a fantasy team that were up by 32 going in for the win, and Andrews got about 40 points, which was a real kick in the you-know-what. But betting-wise, here we're on Herbert and Mike Williams. Again, a big part of this Chargers resurgence here is the fact that Mike Williams is healthy. His problem always has been he's on the field, off the field, on the field, off the field. Eckler has been amazing. And look for Boza, put a little pressure on the Lamar. If it comes down to a kicking game, we know Tucker has the big edge there. But we're looking for the Chargers to steal this one. We bought the hook and taking them plus the 3.5 Pops.
And I gotta agree, Jeff. You're right on the money about that with the Chargers, brother. We both know that the Chargers it's just something different about this team this year. You know what I mean? And they're playing much stronger football, but Mike Williams being healthy is everything. When they had their prior coaching staff, they went to the playoffs when Mike Williams was healthy. And Mike Williams had some of the biggest plays of the season. That was his rookie year. So you guys got to understand that, yes, that the Chargers, it's not really about the coach. It's about them being healthy. They just do this way too much. You know what I mean? So we move on. Let's talk about a game that's fun for everybody in the Midwest. All those Southern Kentucky, Northern Kentucky, and Southern Ohio people, and those people from Michigan, Detroit. So we got Detroit hosting the Bengals. Detroit's coming in here fresh off of a very, very, very just crushing loss, Jeff. Crushed velvet at that too. Like seriously, like just why us? That's what you ask when you're a Lions fan and a Lions player as well too. Why us? You know what I mean? Why we got to always get the dookie end of the stick? You know what I mean? And why do the football gods hate us so much? Is it because we traded Bobby Lane to the Steelers because he was gambling on the game? I don't know. I think it's the curse of Bobby Lane, Jeff. The Red Sox had Babe Ruth. The Lions got Bobby Lane. It's that simple. The last great quarterback they had, the last significant quarterback they had that was consistently good wasn't Matt Stafford. It was Bobby Lane because Bobby Lane won the championships and won them. So, when you get rid of, when you get cursed by your greatest player of all time for trading him, just nothing's ever going to go right. So pretty much that's what it is, man, at the end of the day. And I just really think that when you look at the Lions and Bengals matchup, a lot of people are going to gravitate to the Bengals because everybody is loving what the Bengals are doing this season. But this is a big letdown game for the Bengals because the Bengals honestly should have beat the Jaguars a few weeks back. The Jaguars made a lot of mental mistakes in that game, and it all started when Urban Meyer went for it late in that second quarter. If he kicks a field goal, the game might finish a little differently. You know what I mean, Jeff? So I think that when you look at this game, you tell yourself that enough is enough, Detroit. you should win this damn game. But I'm going to say that you're going to keep it close because I can't trust y'all to win like that. I'm going to take the 3.5 on the Lions. And I'm going to do it because I felt bad for their coach, man. A loss that will make a grown man cry. That man was up in there crying. And he's just like, I know I made all the mistakes, but those guys deserve to win.
I mean, you talk about snake bit. I mean, you go when Barry Sanders retires early. Calvin Johnson retires early. It's just go to this year alone. I mean, Tucker from 66. This past week, an amazing effort. Had the game, and then Joseph kicks a 54-yarder like it was an extra point. Cursed. They're cursed. I smell. We bought the hook here. We took the Bengals -3. Try to do the math here. Do the Bengals get to 27? Is this a 24-23 game? It does smell like a trap to me, but we're hoping Bengals can get to 27 here and not overlook this. This is a typical game where the Bengals need to get in and get out, get the win, and we're just hoping it's by 3 or more. And not to change the subject here, Pops, but I got breaking news for you that's making Twitter blow up right now. Corey Knuble is starting for the Dodgers tonight, not Urias. Now, maybe Urias is coming into the second or something, but I thought I'd give you that breaking news.
Okay. Man, that's wild. But I know what he's doing, though. I think that – but the thing is, the guy pitched Saturday, Jeff.
Well, if you look at the lineup, I don't have the lineup in front of me. I'm assuming maybe there's 3 righties to start. I don't know. I don't have their lineup in front of me. I think Urias, I assume, would be coming in the second or something. I don't know, but I just got the breaking news, so kind of comical.
All right. So Jeff loves the Bengals.
No, I don't love them. I do not love them. I smell trap here. I do. But we're hoping if the Bengals win, it's by 3 at least.
Well, you have been the Bengals guy this year, man. I'm telling you. But I know that I've been on teams this year too. Like, yeah, man, you be on that team a lot. Like, I think for me, it's been like the Falcons this year. But the Falcons keep putting themselves in matchups that I like, man. But they're not doing nothing this year, man. They used to be good for me, but they're not anymore. All right, so we move forward. And we have another good spot here, and this is going to be a fun spot. This one is going to be a game between the Rams and the Giants. Well, actually, we're going to go take a quick commercial break because we've exhausted our situation, and we are actually going pretty long too. So we'll be back with a commercial break. Sorry about me. I'm just Mr. Scatterbrain today. So pretty much we'll be right back. This is the NFL Bet Exchange.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
They're telling me that Fernando Valenzuela is going to start tonight.
And bringing
too. This is hilarious. The Dodgers tweeted this out. But I think it's a joke. 60-year-old Fernando Valenzuela who started the game. I think it's just a joke. I think it's just a joke. But from what I'm hearing right now is that they're going to start Knibble to bring in Uris in the second. I think that's kind of smart because the top hitters for the Giants, I think, like you said, Jeff, they're starting off with 3 righties, so they're playing the matchup to start the game off. And they kind of want to throw a monkey wrench into the situation a little bit. You know what I mean?
But you've noticed in these playoff games that first inning scoring is so huge. So I understand the thought process. Now you're extending your length of your bullpen. Okay, this is a hero move. If the Giants don't score in the first inning, if you get up there and go 1, 2, 3, and you get a couple guys on, and next thing you know, you get to one of those lefties and it blows up in your face, you're going to be questioning this for the rest of the season. I know we've talked at 6 months about catching this team. You had the opportunity in game 3 with Max. You didn't do it. Now it's 6 months and 5 games. And I mean, every out is going to be an inning. And I'm holding minus 155 series ticket, Pops. I don't know what to do right now, honestly.
Well, you already know, man, and I got to save it for the next show because we got to keep on the subject matter, which is the NFL. But baseball is the thing right now. So let's go ahead and talk about these two, the Rams and the New York Giants. This used to be a fun little game when I was This used to be a funny game when I was a kid, when the Rams were in LA before they moved to St. Louis. It seemed like the Giants would always just beat down the Rams in the Meadowlands, like just absolute, just beat down. You know what I mean? But the last few times the Rams and Giants have played, the Rams have absolutely dominated these guys. So I'm thinking to myself that this should be an occurrence again because you get no Saquon Barkley in this spot once again. No Saquon. The most overhyped Hall of Famer I've ever seen in my life. The only Hall of Famer I know that played 6 games or something in his career. Well, how many games he played, Jeff? About 12?
He is the most cursed guy in the NFL. Most cursed guy. That play was over. A guy sticks his foot under his foot. It blew up like a softball. I mean, the guy is cursed.
You're right. And you know what? Knowing him, he would have played with that if he was still in college. So the thing is, there's no luck for the Giants right now. They say Daniel Jones is getting better by the week and blah, 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 blah. Daniel Jones is just taking advantage of bad secondaries. He's still not a good quarterback to me. You know what I mean? He's still just whatever. He's a good backup. And he's always been I've always felt like he was going to be a great backup. You know what I mean? And hey, you know what? It is what it is at the end of the day. But let me be quick here. I'm going to take the Rams because the Rams are just too legit to quit right now. They are a damn good team, and they go out there and they handle their business and they do what they have to do to win football games. And they are not going to play around with bad teams. That's why you like the Rams. Is because the Rams are going to go in there and destroy bad teams. And I think that they're going to absolutely clean the Giants' clock come Sunday. And I hate to talk like that, but I'm feeling like that right now, Jeff. So there it is. That's my bet, 9.5 on the Rams. How you feeling, brother?
Yeah, you talked about Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, all questionable or out. You got a defense with Donald. So whoever's quarterback and Phil Simms, Jeff Hostetler, Daniel Jones, I don't care. Going to be pressured all day. No running attack. Devin Booker now going to start. Look for Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods to have a field day. Look for Donald to have a field day. We bought the hook just in case. Rams all day today. Rams all day.
Yeah, and then you know what? Now a big shout out to the Washington football team for honoring Sean Taylor and retiring his number forever and everything like that. So good for him. But I have my thoughts on the Sean Taylor situation, but we don't have time for that. Great player, Great player, but I don't know if he would have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't pass away. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll see, Jeff. What did he do? Like did he get 30 picks before it was all said and done?
He wasn't Deion Sanders, okay, but let's just say he was elite, and you know he was there's only or let's say this, he wasn't Revis Island either, you know, but he could play a great defense. He hit you hard. He knew you knew who hit you after he hit you, but tragic story. Great player again. What's going on in the NFL with Gruden? This was an investigation on the Washington football team, Schneider, and all this other stuff. And Gruden ends up being the scapegoat. But so they're kind of deflecting a little of what's actually going on. So hats off to Sean.
And that's why nobody likes Washington right now, man. Like, seriously, like, these guys, you might need to exterminate them from the league because they're just not being a functional sports franchise at this moment in time. They got way too much, but you know what? They just uncovered Pandora's box. That's all that is. All right, we move on. And let's go ahead and talk about those late games. And those late games, Jeff loves those late games because Jeff gets to have it his way. It's what, 7 o'clock, or it's like already 4 o'clock when that stuff starts. Jeff gets a good meal in as well, too, probably about halftime, you know. So, you know, those late afternoon games back east are so fun. All right, so we have the Browns and the Cardinals. The Browns coming in here as a favorite, minus 165, plus 145 for the Cards. They switched the game to 1 o'clock because they want to make sure that they had a 1 o'clock game for Fox, because I don't think Fox had I'm saying 1 o'clock my time. So they didn't have a 1 o'clock game. So this game was switched out the early group to be in the late group. So who does that favor more in a sense? I think it favors to be honest with you, I hate to say it kind of favors the Cardinals a little bit more because they get the later start now. With the earlier start, that would have been more to the advantage of the Browns because, you know, you wake up, it's going to be a cold, windy day in Cleveland, and, you know, you got an early game, and these guys might not be up to it. But now you're later in the day. But I think the Cardinals are coming in here with some key injuries right now, and the Browns should be very, I would say, ticked off from losing that game last week. They were up 7 twice in the fourth quarter and still managed to not win that game last week. Now, the Cardinals, the last few times they came to Cleveland, which in the last 25 years, probably 3 times, Jeff, this being the third, the Browns have absolutely wiped the floor with them in Cleveland. So I think I'm going to take, because traditions do last in the NFL. You can be a bad team, and then if you beat this team a lot, you're still going to beat them because it's just the tradition of the game. And I feel like the Browns, with them being at home for the first time in a few weeks, they had 2 straight road games. You know, the first 3 out of 5 games on the road. This is going to be a kickoff to 3 straight home games. And they want to start this home stretch off correct with a monster win over a team like the Cardinals, who are 5-0 and deserve to be 5-0 because they played 5-0 football at this point. And I give them nothing but the props because, you know, I'm kind of hard on Kyler Murray, but the thing is, though, not really. I'm kind of hard on their coach, but Kyler Murray has overcame bad coaching and has overcame, you know, pretty much his whatever flaws you thought he had. And this guy is playing MVP football right now, and that's why the Cards are playing great. And then that wide receiver room is just excellent. When you got a leader like AJ Green and you got DeAndre Hopkins to highlight that group, and then you got up and comers like Christian Kirk, and then the kid from Colorado as well too. The skies are the limit for this squad in a sense, you know what I mean? And you know, you like what you see, but you know that this isn't going to last long. And I think the Browns are the team that's going to put them back into reality. That's why I'm taking the Browns with the hook this week, minus 2.5. Let's see how it checks out. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
You know, it's a game where I think it comes down to coaching. And listen, Baker Mayfield's not going to come in here and try to out gunsling the gunslinger with Murray. It's going to be Nick Chubb, Hunt, throw the ball 18, 20, 21 times. Maybe OBJ finally finds the end zone. And Njoku had a big week last week. I think the defense is going to be able to put pressure on Kyler. You got to keep him in his lanes. Like you said, the dog pound's going to be barking loud. And we don't usually give out minus 165 money lines. Didn't want to mess around with the points here just in case. I think the Browns win early and often here. Give the Cards their first loss. And I'm a big Browns believer. I still think they got the team to go a long way this year. And I think it starts this Sunday in the dog pound.
All right. So, Jeff, you got the Browns with the -6. And then let's move on to one of the funnest old rivalry games in all of sports. The Raiders at the Broncos. And you know that everybody in the AFC West hates the Raiders, just like everybody in the NFC East hates the Cowboys, you know. So this is their rivalry game. This is their big game. It's Raider week with the Broncos as well, too. You know what I mean? So the Broncos should be very, very up to this one after losing 2 games in a row. But everybody knows why the Broncos, you know, looked somewhat good at the beginning of the season. 3 names for you: Giants, Jags, Jets. Simple. Anybody would have been 3-0 playing against those teams in the first 3 weeks of the season. So the Broncos have looked absolutely awful in the last 2 weeks against a Ravens team that held them to 7 points, and then they cried after the fact because the Ravens wanted to run the ball at the end to keep their streak going. And then they they just absolutely got body slammed by Pittsburgh, a team that couldn't get out their own way the last month of the season. So the Broncos are not an elite team. They're not even an above average team. They're right there in the middle. They're a middling team. We all love Teddy B. We all do. But Teddy B doesn't have enough talent around him to really tout playoff opportunity this year as well. The Raiders, to me, may have gotten new life. Because I think that even if this didn't come out about Gruden was still lightweight on a hot seat because Gruden makes a lot of money. And the idea was to have this team in the playoffs within the first 3 years he was back. You know, at least the first year we get to Vegas, you get us to the playoffs. You know what I mean? And Gruden didn't live up to the promises to me. And that's why I felt like this could have been him, you know, on the hot seat this year as well, too. So him excusing himself this early in the season is something that needed to come. But at the same time, though, at the end of the year, they would have visited that scenario to see if they want to stick around with John Gruden and Mike Mayock as well, too. You know what I mean? So I think that this gives the Raiders new life right here. I think Derek Carr, this would be the best thing ever for Derek Carr because now he can just be free again. You know what I mean? Because I think that Gruden put too much pressure on him by always trying to bring in some type of quarterback or somebody that could take your job. You know what I mean? He never put the confidence in Carr that he's his guy. And I think that now Derek Carr knows he's the guy. You got Marcus Mariota coming back off the IR as well, too, to do the little gadget plays and things of that nature. I think the Raiders roll up into Mile High and go ahead and get themselves a nice victory over the arch rival Denver Broncos. And that's why they are the dog bet of the week. The Raiders plus 165. That's where I'm going, Jeff. What are your thoughts?
You know, I have a tough time gauging the locker room. I don't know what effect the move of Gruden being out, going to Mile High, a divisional opponent, a team that Denver's getting a lot of respect with the Vegas odds makers. Don't forget, 2 weeks ago, they were 1.5-point favorites over the Ravens. So it's a game that's really hard to cap in our eyes. The 3.5, We bought the hook here, took it down to 3. Could I see the Raiders winning this game? Absolutely. But I don't know what the Gruden effect will be. So we're going to get a better judge of it this Sunday. We're going to take the home team, hopefully defensively, maybe a couple picks on Carr. They got to keep Waller intact. And now they got speed demons all around with Ruggs, with Zay Jones, with Brian Edwards. They love Renfro. Josh Jacobs is back. But again, don't look for Teddy to make mistakes. Look the defense to shine. And we took the Broncos, bought the hook, -3 Pups.
All right. So there it is, and we're gonna move on to our next game. And this one is dear to Jeff's heart because it's the neighborhood, it's the local guys going against America's team. Oh man, Cowboys, boy, oh boy. When you got a successful Cowboys team, you got a fan base that just literally is always talking about worrying about the haters. They hate us. They don't like us. They didn't say we were number 1 this week. Oh God, the Cowboys are the greatest thing that ever happened. It is the greatest thing since sliced bread. This is the most overrated situation in sports history, in my honest opinion, Jeff. To me, the Cowboys haven't won enough to be seen as the NFL team. You know what I mean? Seriously. They ain't won or even sniffed the Super Bowl since 1995. That's a long time, Jeff. That's a long time. And in the 20 years we had Brady, Belichick, I would say that 20 years is probably better than the whole history of the Dallas Cowboys. And that's saying a lot. But when you go to what was it, Jeff? 10 championships, 9 championships in a 20-year span, you're just a little different. You can be called America's team. But when you're a team that, we still living off of what we did in the 70s, I would say the Cowboys were 2 decades, the 70s and the 90s. The rest of it's been utter BS, to be honest with you. It's just been good theater on TV because the Cowboys just know how to sell themselves. That's all it is. And I know I got Cowboy fans watching. They're going to be mad at me this weekend. But I'm just I just think that sometimes relax. You know what I mean? Cowboy fans, you don't own the NFL. Yeah, you got a rich owner, but that doesn't mean anything because if he was a rich, smart owner, he would have 10 championships. Jerry Jones, the Cowboys will not be a consistent winner until Jerry Jones steps aside because Jerry Jones wants to be the lone superstar of the Cowboys. It's the same situation with John Gruden with the Raiders. We have guys that don't even go out on Sundays and score touchdowns who want to be the superstar of the team all the time. So once the Cowboys get rid of their lone superstar, they should be right there in the mix. But when it comes down to this game, no doubt about it. The Cowboys are going to go ahead and beat down the Patriots, dude. I don't like the Patriots this season. I think that the Patriots are just really over. They're a big oversell, Jeff, because I think because everybody's living off the fact that it's Belichick and what he did with Brady. Nothing's working right now with what he's doing. Yeah, they got a good win last week, but come on. Come on, Jeff. That was a team that really just thought they had won, and then they just blew it. And they did what bad teams do. But I love the Cowboys this spot. I overspin on the Cowboys because I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Cowboys wind up getting themselves a last-second victory over at Foxborough.
You got a Dallas Cowboy team 4-1, 5-0 against the spread. They opening night tough game in Tampa. They covered. They could have won that game. They go to the Chargers because of the Chargers' stupidity, steal the game, and then they go back home. They beat up on the Panthers. They beat up on the Giants. They beat up on the Eagles. They're averaging over 40 points. Okay, it's not going to happen here. The Pats got fortunate to win last week against the Texans. Now they're 2-3. This is a game. This is a perfect spot for the Pats. I do remember a few years ago, Dallas traveling to the Jets, 7.5-point favorites, and getting beat outright. Okay, the Pats can get to 500. They rose to the occasion against the Bucs. I think they rise to the occasion this week. Look for a lower scoring game. Look for the Pats plus the 4 to cover. And even you get an opportunity to grab plus 165 on the pizza and beer money. This game means so much more to the Pats. It's their season to get to 3-3, and they got I think it's the Jets or someone week next week where they could actually get to 4-3. This is usually where Bill starts to get that momentum. They start to build as the colder weather comes. We love the Pats plus the 4, and I wouldn't be shocked if they steal this game outright, Pops.
All right. So there it is. So we're going to take one more commercial break, and then we're going to cover the Sunday night football game and the Monday night football game. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Betting Exchange.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we're back, and we are in the last, pretty much like our version of like a 2-minute warning kind of, I guess, Jeff, right? And my bad, I forgot to show the Cowboys and Patriots situation, but let's go ahead and jump into Sunday night football. Sunday night football, ready for a party. And it's going to be the Eagles and the I'm sorry, not the Eagles, the Seahawks and the Steelers. And it's funny because I said Eagles because that's lightweight for a second looked a little bit like the Eagles logo. So my bad about that one. Seahawks. A lot of people probably are not going to be in love with the Seahawks this week because they come into this game and they have a lot of questions because they have a guy in Geno Smith who hasn't started an NFL game in I don't know how long, but he was drafted to be a Sunday starter. You know what I mean? And it just didn't work out with the team that he wound up playing, getting with, and that was a team called the New York Jets. And I always felt like Geno Smith was put into a bad spot by Rex Ryan. Seriously. Rex had himself, he already had a starting quarterback that they spent the 5th pick in the draft on, that beat the Patriots in the playoffs for you. And you weren't comfortable with him. That's why Rex Ryan never deserved another coaching job in the NFL after that. But they still went ahead and hired him over in Buffalo and saw that he's just not a leader, okay? It's that simple. He's a good talker, but not a leader. But that's in the past. This is now. But I'm just saying this because I felt like he kind of ruined Geno's career. He ruined Mark's career for sure, but he definitely ruined Geno as well too, because Geno was put in the middle of that, and he didn't need to be put in the middle of that. So, Geno Smith now he got a good coach, and Pete Carroll, he got a good teammate in Russell Wilson. I don't doubt him at all. I think he's going to be good Sunday. I think this is going to be a good redemption game. I just don't trust anything the Steelers are doing this year, Jeff, to be honest with you. Yeah, they got a good one against a Broncos team that on at home, but the Broncos were a little overhyped. That wasn't a true 3-1. That was a good month for a team. That was a good start. But now we're in the meat and potatoes of the season. This is where we question your heart. So I think that the Seahawks have enough heart to keep themselves in the mix and keep themselves right at the Steelers' throat Sunday night. I'm going to take them with the +5, Jeff. What are you doing here?
A Steelers team since opening day has done nothing. A Big Ben non-believer at this point. Even last week they just, their defense is trying. Their offense just plain out sucks. And this is a game without if Russell Wilson was there, I'd be all over the Seahawks as well. Gino looked great and actually was driving at the end, and the wide receiver slipped, and they threw the pick. I believe in everything you're saying, but I believe spotlight, Tomlin, must win. I think the defense has a big day. I think Pittsburgh puts up at least 24. They give up 13 or 14 at most. And we like the Steelers here early and often. And I think this might jumpstart them this season. And it's all because Russell Wilson will not be on the field.
And that's understandable. But my thing is Ben Roethlisberger is going to be on the field too. So my thing is let's step it up, Seattle's defense, because you got Grandpa playing against you Sunday. So you'll be okay. Grandpa Ben. Hey, guys. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about it, Jeff. There is another fun one. And this is going to be our Monday Night Football. Are you ready for some party? Yeah. We got Jeff and Pop, and we're going to get things started. Yeah, so Monday Night Football. Maybe me and Jeff should do our own Monday Night Football telecast. It like Peyton and what you call it? I think we'll have more fun though. Peyton and Eli are too button up for me. I know they're joking around, having a good time, but the reason why everybody laughs about it because they look like two very uptight people. That's why everybody thinks it's so funny because they think that they're really cool, but I still think that they're very uptight people, though, to be honest with you. Ask Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday has the real Peyton stories for you. All right. So, yeah, you remember what Jeff Saturday said? So just look it up. All right. So Monday Night Football, we have the Bills and the Titans. This one should be a good one as well. The Bills coming in here. The big dog. Jeff, is it 1991 all over again? Is the NFL playing morning games on NBC? That's how I'm feeling. Every time the Bills are elite on top of the world team, I just can't get over those four teams that those 4 years of going to the Super Bowl.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Right. And, even if they didn't win a Super Bowl, that's one of the most dominant runs in the NFL ever. Because what made them special was that they didn't just dominate every game. If they got to a game where they had to come back or had to really dig deep to win that game, they won it. That's why the Bills will always be put in too high regard. I don't care what anybody says. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it. Yeah, they lost the Super Bowls, but still, they had a hell of a team. You know what I mean? That team used to not want to see them on Sundays. All right, but let me get down to business. I think that they're in for a upset Sunday, Jeff, to be honest with you, because I think that what happens here is that you have a team that came off an excellent emotional win over a team that is seen as the standard in the conference. And they didn't just beat them, they whooped them. So they're going to be real confident, but there's always a fall-off point, and they're going to Tennessee this week against a team that may be overlooked because they've been a little inconsistent these first 5 weeks of the season. But I think Monday night, they come full circle, get themselves a good old-fashioned Monday Night Football home win, and I'm going to take them with the +5.5 with the insurance, but I think that they do absolutely win this game, though, because I love what the Bills are doing. The Bills are number one on my list when it comes to teams in the NFL. But I think that this one is where they kind of trip over their own feet here. What are your thoughts?
You're 100% correct. And I think the public will be all in on the Bills, a Tennessee Titan team that has been inconsistent. A.J. Brown is back. Is Julio coming back? It's a perfect spot for the Titans, not just to show everyone, hey, we've been a playoff team, but don't forget us, and we got Sir Henry in the backfield. And I took it a step further. We're giving out the Titans plus the 180 in the money line to win this game outright. Obviously, if you guys want some insurance, buy the hook, take the Titans up to 6, play along with the money line here. But I think Tennessee makes a statement and says, hey, guys, don't forget about us. And now, with that said, if the Bills run roughshod through these guys and get to 5-1, and after beating Kansas City, now Tennessee, I'm not saying, listen, they're going to hold the trump cards. You're going to probably have to go through Buffalo to get to the Super Bowl. But let's, pump the brakes. Let's circle the wagons. And let's look at this Titan team in the full upset mode here, plus the 180 here, Pops, and win the game outright.
And there it is. Jeff has the plus 180 here because Jeff feels bolder than me. So he's telling y'all Monday night when you in Vegas and you're over there looking for that bet, you better take the Titans so then you can have yourself a good night and get everybody drinks that's at the bar with you. All right, so with that, that's going to be our final game right there. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know that we keep you guys for long, but we go through 16 games every week, so you guys have to understand that part too. Well, this week it was 14, so hit or miss. You know what I mean, Jeff? So we'll be back next Thursday once again to go over some great games in the NFL for you and to see exactly where we land with our bets and picks for this week. But you guys make sure to keep tuning in, and if you guys do miss today's show, it will be available on my YouTube channel all week, on the Twitter as well too, and on my Facebook pages as well. So you guys can't tell me you don't know where to watch the show at. I just gave you every resource to watch it. Jeff, final thoughts.
Week 6, guys, it's a marathon. Okay, we're halfway through October. Check your bankroll. If you're rolling and doing well, you're where you're supposed to be. If your bankroll shortened up since the first 6 of the weeks, step off the gas, shorten it up. We want you here for Thanksgiving. We want you here for December. We want you here through the playoffs, guys. It's a marathon. Don't get caught up in all the social media, the Twitters, the 28-leg parlays, $10 turning into $280,000. There's 1 in a million, okay? You don't see the other 999,000 that are on the table, on the floor. They're beer coasters, they're confetti or whatever it is. So never get above your skis, okay? Trust the process. Enjoy the marathon. Go get yourself a new pair of Nikes if you need it. But we'll see you here next week as well.
All right. So with that, this is the NFL Bet Exchange with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson. And we'll see you next Thursday. And we bid adieu. You guys be great. You guys be good. Make as much money as you can this weekend, okay? And we'll be back Thursday for you, all right? So, toodles.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bets are laid. This show was produced by the Prime Wave Media Group.